This is Craig from Captain America Projects coming to you today with a easy awning. A beautiful, attractive, and very functional awning that you can put together in just a couple of hours. So let's get started and I'll show you how to make this. Well, it's another beautiful day in the middle of COVID-19, so it's time for another project. Let's start the day by ringing the dinner bell and feeding the animals. Alright, animals are all getting fed, so let's get started on our project. Right, here are the parts you're going to need for the project. 4 of these 2x4 brackets, a couple of these, and 4 of these little brackets. So I'm going to start off by painting these guys, just to have something a little different than the typical metallic look. So let's get those spray painted real quick. Alright, now I'll give those guys 10-15 minutes to dry, and then let's do a second coat. Instead of sitting around watching paint dry, I thought we'd watch the animals chow down. A lot more fun. All the lumber you'll need to make this particular project is just 4 4-foot 2x4s and then 3 44-inch 1x1s. So I'm ready to do my first cut, and what I'm going to do is take my first 4-foot 2x4 and I'm going to set my saw to, I'm going to do these at a 15-degree angle. 15 degrees, there we go. Alright, so I've got it set right at 15 degrees. That's the angle I want it to come off the house at. So, oh, safety glasses. Always safety first. Alright. Got my safety glasses on. So let's go ahead and do our first cut. So at the end of your first 4-foot 2x4, you don't want to waste any of the wood, so try to cut it as close so your blade's going to hit right at the corner. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and do that one. Alright, so I got my first angle cut, and you're going to repeat that on the other 2x4. And there's little Gladys. So this is what the door looks like currently. No awning at all. And this is terrible if you live in the Pacific Northwest or anywhere it rains often, because the doormat is just constantly soaked. So you show up to wipe your feet and it does no good. Plus when you're opening your door, you're getting rained on. No good. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my metal brackets. That's these 2 guys. And we're going to mount these up on the wall. So let's go ahead and get that done. So what you want to do is make sure the first part that you screw in is vertical. So I just eyeballed that, but I think it's pretty good. So this is vertical, because this, you want this to still move, so once you put the 2x4 in, then you kind of pinch it closed and screw it to the 2x4, and then I'm going to then add the other 2 screws into the house. So just the first 2, just those 2 screws to start off with, and just make sure that's vertical. That's all you need to worry about right now. Okay, now let's do the one on the other side. So my cross beams are 44 inches. So I need this to be exactly 44 inches from the inside wall of this. So I'm going to push that about to where it'll be with the 2x4, and then I'm going to measure 44 inches, and that's where I'm going to put my other bracket. Alright, good and tight. Alright, now we're going to put in our 2x4s. Put in my 2x4. got that in. That's not strong enough to hold this, so make sure you're still holding onto your 2x4. I don't like these extended screw bits because I can't use my sleeve to steady it in because it just goes right to the end of it. So if you have the normal size bits, that's a lot nicer, but I think I couldn't find any at the moment. So, gotta use what you got. So it looks nice, and it's strong enough to hold it in place. So that's good. Now let's go ahead and get the other one up. And as you can see, it's a typical Oregon day. We go through all 4 seasons just about every day. Started off nice and sunny. Now it's overcast. It's starting to sprinkle a little bit. Hopefully we don't get a downpour so I can finish this up. All right. Okay, so since this is Oregon, we can't let a little wet weather stop us, so we just throw on a raincoat and keep at it. We want to get this project done. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is the little cross beams. We're going to do 3 cross beams there. So those are the ones I had you cut 44 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and install those. I'll show you how we do that. About 5 inches, about 4 3/4 actually. 4 3/4. So I'm going to go here. 4 3/4. Make my mark where I want to drill. So for these I'm going to use a nice long 3-inch screw. So this should go deep enough in. You could even maybe use 3.5 or 4. I think 3 will be good enough. So I'm going to go ahead and get my screw on here. Alright. And sometimes it's a good idea to go ahead and start the screw. Then once you have your board up, it goes in easier. So I'm going to make sure that's right where the center is, right where that hole is. Right there. Okay. And we're going to get it in nice and tight. Same thing 2 more times. So let me show you what it should look like from above. So you want these flush with the top of your 2x4 because the plastic sheeting is going to lay on there. So see how that came out? So we're going to do 2 more, one in the middle and one near the top. Alright, here we go. Pretty good. Okay, so the main structure of the awning is now up. Now we're just going to put in the 2 support beams and then throw on the plastic roofing. Easy peasy. Yep. Almost there. Okay, so we're going to finalize the support beams now. You're going to come back to your saw with your remaining 2 2x4s and don't cut your kitty in half. Excuse me, Nibbles. This is Monsieur Niblet Cat. Alright, thank you, sweetie. So I still got my saw set at 15 degrees. And I'm going to follow the same procedure pretty much. Alright. Got the other one. Alright. Okay, so what you're going to do here is put the 15-degree angle up against the house, and then you're going to figure out where you want it exactly, and this is going to be supporting this. So I'm going to go ahead and get it just where I want it. Make sure this part here is flush on the wall. You're going to mark a straight line to do your cut. So this was an earlier one I accidentally marked from the top, and then I realized no, I want it on the bottom because I'm going to put that underneath there. So once you get your board marked, you can cut both boards the same way. So just hold your other board up. Make sure you put the 15-degree angle ends together. And once you get those nice, then you can just use your pin to mark so you can duplicate that cut. Okay, so I've got my boards cut. They got the 15-degree angle here, and then this is the angle that I marked to match up my boards there, my 2x boards. So what I'm going to do is pre-drill them. I already drilled this side. As you can see, I drilled a nice angle so it'll come out right about here. And I'm going to put a screw through here as well. One on each of them here. And since that's a pretty good distance, I brought out my 4-inch screws. So we're going to use the 4-inch screws for these. So I recommend go ahead and get them started. I'll go ahead and start drilling them in a little bit. Oops. Okay, got them started and ready to go, so let's go ahead and put them up. The key is I want that flush flat on the house. That's the 15-degree angle. Then I just bring it up to where it hits. Feels good and tight. Then we're going to bring that till it's just resting on it nice and snug. And screw that in. That feels pretty good. The whole structure just with this one beam, I felt it all kind of snug up, and now it feels a lot more firm. Let's put the other one in on the other side. There we go. Feels like very sturdy. Nice and strong. I like it. Okay, now I'm going to put in the second set of little brackets here. This is to provide just a little extra support. Because I only have one screw going into the wall. It's a pretty good, strong screw, but just want to have a little extra support. These things, probably the biggest challenge will be the wind. These are going to take a lot of wind. So on these, actually I'm going to go into the 2x4 first. Got some smaller screws here. Just If you got like 1.5" screws or 1 3/4, that's perfect. You don't want them to go through the 2x4. So on these, I'm going to go ahead and screw them to the 2x4 first this time, because that other screw is already holding it in place, so I don't need that just yet. So I'm going to just push it up till it's nice and snug, and I'm going to screw her in. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is put on these little L brackets, and I got 4 of them. You could use 6. These are even optional. You don't have to have these. This is just going to provide just a little extra structural support. So I'm just going to put these on these cross beams where everything meets here. So just put that there. And then I got some little tiny 1" screws to hold these together. Last thing I'm going to do for a little extra structural support before I put the roof on, this is the last step, these little panels that we painted white earlier. It's just a little strong tie type thing, and I'm just going to put that where the 2 pieces of wood meet. I like the way these look, and just gives it a little extra support. And if you're wondering about these screws, I use these screws for all kinds of things. These are self-drilling lathe screws. They're made to go into metal, but I use them in wood all the time, and I love them because they're self-drilling, so they go in real easy, and they got that flat head, so it just sits nicely, and I think they look really cool. Okay, we got all our frame up. It's nice and sturdy. It feels very secure. And then now we're ready to do the last step, put the roofing on. You want to make sure you have some of these self-sealing screws. 1" is usually good enough. They have a little washer. It's a little rubber washer, so it makes a nice seal with the plastic roofing, and that'll keep the water from leaking inside. It's a good idea to put both of your sheets of plastic up just to make sure everything fits like it should. I've made errors in the past, and then once you get it up, it's like, oh no, you got to take it all down. So let's slide that on over. And this one would go right here. And you want to make sure to set an easy ratchet so you don't overdo it on these. And I'd say put one in every 1.5 feet or so. I'll probably put 4 down each side. Looks about right. Now I'm going to do the other side, and then I'll come back and put some in between. And this is part of the reason you do the cross beams, so I'm going to put a couple screws in the cross beams as well. Otherwise, when the wind hits it, it's going to go like this, make a lot of noise. So get plenty of screws in there, and that will keep it down. Yay! And there you have it. The roof is on nice and tight. Looks good, feels secure. Beautiful. So here's our finished project. I'll just kind of give you a little flyby so you can see how it came out. See, what do we got here? Look, we got some little deer visiting. A whole beautiful little family. Come to watch my project be finished. Oh, and there's another. So we got 6 of them, it looks like. A couple of young ones. Thanks for stopping by, fellas.